Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Well, today I decided to do a beef roast for my family, so I thought I would take you along in the process and share with you the recipe. I've shared recipes in the past and they've gotten really great feedback, so I thought I'd share this with you as well. So to begin, we're starting off with a sirloin tip roast, and this I picked up at No Frills, and it's a fairly large one, and you can see it was $11.73. Not that that has anything to do with the recipe, but it's a really great deal. The other ingredients I'm using today are some onions. I believe those are 2 onions, and I just sliced them up roughly. Next, I'm going to use this Portuguese pimento paste, and there's either hot or sweet, but I'm using sweet because Isabella's not fond of hot food. I'm also using some extra virgin olive oil. Here I'm just using some white cooking wine, although some people drink this as well, but I use it for cooking. And my go-to everyday spice is this keg steak spice, and it has a combination of pepper and onion and salt. It's really, really good. I'm also going to use some cloves of garlic. And here I'm using some garlic powder, granulated garlic powder. I'm also going to use some chicken broth. Many will use beef broth. I just like the taste of chicken broth. I'll also be using an aluminum tray, so there's no pots and pans for me to clean afterwards. And these you can pick up like 20 for next to nothing at Costco. I'm also putting a little metal trivet at the bottom just so that the beef doesn't sit soaking in the juices, otherwise it'll be too overcooked. And here I'm just removing the plastic wrapper. And placing the beef on top of the trivet. At least I think that's what it's called, I'm not sure. Now I'm going to begin adding the ingredients. First, we're going to start off with the chicken broth. And I really don't measure anything, I just eyeball everything. So let's go ahead and add that. And now I'm going to drizzle over the top some extra virgin olive oil. Now I'm going to add the white wine. Here I'll add the raw onions, and the onions add such a great flavor to the roast, and I'm going to add every single one of them. Now I'm going to add the garlic, and I'm not even going to cut them up, I'm just going to add them whole. And you can see I love my garlic. Again, this adds wonderful, wonderful flavor. Now I'm going to brush on some sweet pimento paste, and you can find this at your local grocery store in the International Center. And this adds such a wonderful flavor. And now I'll start by adding the dry spices. We'll start off with the garlic. Then we'll go ahead and add the keg spice. And the reason I like adding this, it almost leaves like a crust on the roast. So when you slice it, you'll have the crust on the outside and ever so moist on the inside. I love this spice, and I picked this up at Costco, but I've also seen it at your local grocery store. And here you are, it's pretty much ready to go into the oven. So now I'm just gonna cover it up with some tin foil and pop it into a 400-degree oven and check on it periodically, and I like to baste it as well. And over here I'm actually spraying some vegetable oil on the tin foil so it doesn't stick to the meat. And in the oven it goes again at 400 degrees, and we'll check on it periodically and just baste it, and it'll be the best roast beef you've ever had. So now I'm just making a side to go with the roast beef, and a typical Portuguese roast beef, we need Portuguese roasted potatoes. So I've gone ahead and cut up the potatoes in wedges, and the ingredients I'll be putting in the potatoes, as you saw, was the sweet pimento paste, a whole bottle of beer, garlic powder, pepper, some granulated onion, and some cayenne pepper, just to add color. And of course, we will need some butter. And again, these will be the best roast potatoes you have ever tasted. And of course, sorry, I forgot to mention, I'll be adding some onions. So let's begin by adding the beer. And yes, I'm using the entire bottle of beer. It will taste so good. Next, I'll be adding the onions. And that's about, I would say, a small onion. And again, just cut up into slices. Now I'll be adding some of this sweet pimento paste. And again, it's for flavor and for coloring as well. And now I'm just mixing up all the wet ingredients to ensure that the potatoes are fully coated. Now I'm adding the garlic powder. I'm adding salt. I'm adding some black pepper. And I'm adding cayenne pepper. And again, this is for flavor, but for predominantly color. And here I will be adding the butter, and the butter does add a really nice flavor when it's intermingled with all the ingredients, and it actually browns the potatoes as well. Now I'm going to give everything a good stir just to incorporate again all those ingredients with the potatoes. And as soon as that's done, I'm going to put some foil paper and pop it in the oven. And with the snap of our finger and the magic of YouTube, here we go. Here is the final result. You have your roast beef, your roasted potatoes, and I've also added a little side of rice that was from our leftovers from the night before, and it goes really nicely. You can also make a side salad. A garden salad would be very tasty with this. And again, super simple recipe, and it turns out great every single time. The beef is so tender and moist with that little crust on the outer edge. So yummy. So I hope you enjoyed my typical, or my version of the Portuguese roast beef, or how we call it here at home, carne assada. Let me know down below if you make this recipe or if you have a different version of carne assada. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you on my next video. Bye everyone!